So I'm gonna keep going. Hello everybody, my name is Julianne, or Julie, and welcome back to Mystery Case Files Escape from Ravenhearst. This is the third one in the series. I've already done 1 and 2 on this channel. They will all be in the same playlist, so if you haven't seen those, they will be before this one in the playlist. So you can find them all together, because they are one continued story. So I'm just gonna give you a little summary of what happened in the first game and the second game. So in the first game, we read from a diary of a woman named Emma Ravenhearst. She was an American that came to Blackpool in 1895, and she met a young man by the name of Charles Delmar, I think is how you pronounce it. They started seeing each other, courting, that type of thing. And eventually, I think they were seeing each other for a couple of months when he proposed to her. And she declined. Because she was feeling like she had just started her life. She was a teacher. And she wanted to continue teaching for a little while longer, I think. She wanted, to continue living her own life without being tied down. Um, so she said no. Um, Shortly after that, she receives a letter from home. I think it was Kansas, but I'm not entirely sure. That her father was sick and that she was needed at home. So she starts packing, and then Charles comes back around, is like, "Where are you going?" And she said, "I have to leave. I'm going back. The ship's gonna take me back home." And so, as a compromise, he invited her to dinner, and they go out to dinner. Everything was fine. And then the next journal entry that we got, the boat that was leaving for America had left without her because she was sick. And of course, 1895, it could be anything. So this is a dark story. I should warn you right now. If you don't like murder mysteries, if you don't like dark stories, this game isn't going to be for you. This game series isn't going to be for you. And that's absolutely fine. This is an older game series. I don't even know if this is going to really work. I don't know how many people are going to even watch this. It's very niche. It's a find it game. It's a puzzle game. It's very dark. And if that's not something you can handle right now, then don't. Is basically what I'm telling you right now, because the story gets dark and dark and dark. So if that's not something you can handle, skip this one. There'll be other games that I'm going to be playing moving forward that are cozy, that are city builders, that are more horror games. There's house flippers, there's a hotel flipper, there is, what else do I have? I have so many games that are going to be coming out. There's a Sherlock Holmes game that I'm going to be playing. There's going to be Craft is another game I'm going to be playing. There's going to be Leica's Age Through Blood is coming. Dealer's Life 2, Little Kitty Big City, Inmost, Tube Tycoon. So there's tons of other games that I will be playing if this isn't for you right now. As I said, this is a dark story. I'm gonna warn you right now, it is really dark. So, as I said, so she starts getting sick. In 1895, it could be anything. But eventually, she slowly declined to the point where she couldn't get up out of bed. She moved in with Charles, who was taking care of her. And then even he started to pull away. Um, Started to pull away from her a little bit, but he still took care of her. It seemed like he was very overwhelmed with taking care of her. So eventually they hired a nursemaid named Rose Summerhurst to help with some of the caretaking of Emma. And she eventually continues to decline in her health. She continues to not do well. Um, and Charles creating, starts hoarding things, like things that he didn't need. Uh, Basically, that is why it's a find it game, is because he was hoarding things. And then on top of that, he was kind of a genius in that he made puzzle locked doors. For some reason, I'm assuming it's to keep people in and out of each room or whatever. So he had control over it, is kind of what it's like. He uh, Things start to get really weird for Emma. She starts having vivid nightmares. At one point, she had a nightmare that she was in a wedding gown, in a wheelchair that she used to get around the house. Oh, I should mention the house, Ravenhearst, was something that Charles built. He had built it and then named it after Emma to try to get her to stay or come back. Um, but she got sick first. But yes, that's why it's called uh, Ravenhurst, is because he named it after her. So um, where was I? Oh yes. So she continues to decline, starts having weird nightmares that she's in a wedding dress, that she married Charles. And then while Rose was cleaning the attic, she ended up finding the wedding gown, and it's the exact one from her dream. Now we are getting all of this in journal entry forms. The first game came out in 2008. I think this one came out in 2010. The second one came out in 2010, I think. I don't know. They're very old games. Um, so I don't know how well this one's gonna work on the new setup, Windows 10. So we're gonna find out. But as I'm gonna continue explaining the story, basically, uh, they Rose and Emma start having suspicions on Charles, even though he is increasingly becoming isolated himself. He starts continuing to make weird things. He starts diving into the occult, it seems like, and supernatural aspects of things. He starts kind of going mad a little bit. And then Rose finds a poisoned bottle in Charles's pocket. So we assume that he is the one that poisoned Emma, and that's why she's sick. Which is interesting because historically, men were not poisoners. That was a women's thing, usually. Um, but we don't fully know for sure if I mean, it was pretty clear that was the insinuant, is like he was poisoning her. But the next thing we know is that when Emma and Rose tried to leave, they didn't leave. Emma ended up dying before she could leave. We don't know what happened in between the entries. But Emma did end up succumbing to what I'm assuming is the poison. I don't know exactly what it was, like the poison itself, but I'm sure it was rat poison or something of that nature, because that was really easy to get in 1895. or lead or something like that. Um, so there's that. That was the end of the first one. Or close to. We ended up finding Emma, like her body, and releasing her spirit from the house in the first one. And then the game ends. The second one, we return to Ravenhearst, um, because there has been ghost sightings at Ravenhearst, and our character that we play is a detective, so he wants to know more. As well as there had been, in between 1 and 2, Charles had interfered with one of our previous investigations in between the games. It's not one that I played because it's a very short. It does add a little bit of, okay, you see Charles here, he starts be like, oh, you're the reason why Emma's gone, stay away, I'm gonna kill you, kind of that type of thing, right? So he ends up getting away. We think it's Charles's spirit. And then so we go back to Ravenhearst, and we find out that there is a subterranean lair beneath the fireplace of the manor. One door, we end up finding a spirit that tells us she is Rose, which was the nursemaid from the first game. Rose was kidnapped after Emma's demise, as well as her twin daughters, Gwendolyn and Charlotte, I believe. And they were kept down in this subterranean layer. There was 3 doors. One, the first door we unlocked, we go to Rose's area where she was kept. Um, and we end up going through and learning more about Rose, and that Charles had actually been accused of kidnapping her and their daughters, but they didn't have enough evidence at the time, so he got away with it. Um, and then we ended up finding Rose's remains in a scientific tubes all around her in her coffin. And we turned those off, freeing her from this place. And then she requested that we do the same thing for her daughters. So we go to the second door, and we find out this is where he was keeping the twins, the twin girls. And we keep going and discovering more about them. And then eventually find that they were trying to get out. I'm assuming Charles found out that they were trying to get out because they also were deceased when we found them in a coffin, also surrounded by scientific equipment. We end up turning off the equipment, freeing their souls, and then we have the third door. Now, in the girls section, we find out that Charles actually had a son named Victor, and the third door belonged to Victor. Victor had a cabin some yards away from the main house. We do not know where his origin story is, like his mother and stuff like that. We have no idea. It seems like he was very manipulated by his father. He thinks his father is really very fatherly. He'll do whatever he says. But I think that's also just, he was very isolated, so he doesn't know any different. And then we go through Victor's area. They uh, kidnap us at one point, Charles and Victor, who we find out is still alive somehow. Even though it's not, he's like supposed to be like 110 or something like that. He's old. Um, and then we ended up finding out that Charles has been using the life essence of Rose, the twins, um, to be in between worlds to have control over Emma, because everything has been about Emma. So we end up doing the last puzzle and destroying the machine that held Charles in it. As we do this, he yells to Victor to get away with the device, and it seems like he went into a machine of some sort and got away. The whole house started to burn down, which probably is a good thing, let's be honest. Um, and so that is where we are at right now. As I said, this is a dark story, and I'm assuming it's only going to get darker. This is the third one, and there is 3 more after this, which is why I'm so intrigued by this. This is a puzzle find it game. It is going to be dark, and if that's not something you can handle, do not worry. I have softer, easier, cozier games coming, as well as horror games for Halloween. But I have never finished the series. I only started playing 1 and 2 with my first laptop when I was younger. I did not have internet growing up. That wasn't a thing that we had, so these games were kind of my life force for a while. I only played 1 and 2. So I really want to know why there's so many of these games, specifically. So that is why we're here. That is what we're doing. Um, and hopefully this will continue to work. I tried to play this on Steam, and it was not working. It would freeze a lot. So I did start playing about an hour and a half of this on Steam. It did not work, so I went to Big Fish Games themselves and got the collector's edition, hoping that would help fix whatever was wrong. So let's get started. Shortly after my brief stint in Louisiana, which is the game in between 2 and 3, I received a curious missive from an anonymous source. A small parcel containing a simple invitation was wrapped inside clipped articles from various newspapers. The invitation, vividly combined with the grim nature of the headlines, suggests something is quite ominous transpiring again on the coast of England. I swore to myself I would never revisit that house near the cliffs. I have no wish to look upon its burnt shell and remind myself of the horrors beneath it. Yet here I stand in Blackpool, preparing once more to return to these haunted grounds, and hopefully survive long enough to tell the tale of my escape from Ravenhearst. Another goes missing. Blackpool authorities baffled, and disappearances continue. So, again, I already kind of know what to do. Go. Beep, 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 beep. Anyway, I already know what to do because I've done this already. So, I'm just gonna...
Detective, you should not have returned. It's not safe for you here. My soul is now free, but I fear that you are in great danger. As you've done so much to help me and the others, we now promise to follow and assist you. Fortunately, altering the appearance of objects in the world of the living is the only way for us to offer physical support. If you must stay here, use my locket as your guide to find the changing objects. See if you can locate the changing object on the automobile. Well done, Detective. Now, find the changing objects outside the gate so that we may assist you in your investigation. We wish you luck, but be mindful of the perils that await you.
Okay, that was Emma. Emma's mysterious locket opens when there are changing objects nearby. A number inside the locket shows how many objects you must find. Morphing objects, so it's going to be, there's an R here, and it's gonna change to an A. So that's the morphing object. There's a sock and roses here. That's gonna change. There's a pink flower that turns blue, and then there's a trash can that also transforms. And then this is their ghostly help. Alright. Ghostly assistance. Ghosts will offer their help once you've located all the morphing objects. Be sure to investigate areas where they direct your attention. Got that. We got matches. Upon my arrival at the gates, I stepped from my vehicle into a large puddle from the chilly autumn rain. A quick flash of gold near a storm graded caught my attention, and I reached down to collect the locket that once belonged to the woman whose spirit I wrestled from this awful place. Just then, the locket's owner and Manor's namesake appeared before me and delivered a warning that caused the hairs on my arms to rise. Emma's ghost advised me to leave Blackpool before I meet her fate. Upon refusing, she offered to follow and assist me by altering the appearance of objects that might aid in my investigation. After some hesitation, I paused, looked around, and finally collected the objects that she affected. True to her word, Emma's locket suddenly burst open with blast of ghostly energy, drawing my attention to a nearby lantern. When I looked at it again, she was gone. Okay. So, can't get in, can't get in. Um, that used to work, that doesn't work anymore. So we go this way. There's a sparkle right here. So there's a rope. Ironwork. Ugh, I hate this. Mannequin with his mouth open. So again, I have done this already, unfortunately, so I do know what is what. I believe it's one of you. E, you, and the baby head, and there's one more. Oh, can't open that. Also, so remember all those people that went missing? I think they're over there. Okay, so we have one more left. Okay, so now we got a rag. I came across a familiar fixture under a bridge outside the manor. The remains of an old Whack-A-Troll machine have been discarded and left to rot beside a shallow stream. Upon inspecting the machine, Emma's locket sprung open to offer ghostly assistance. Sure enough, after locating clues left behind by my otherworldly helpers, the game machine briefly came to life, knocking over a bucket that contained a rag I may have to use for later. There is also an abandoned stove here, but when I tried to look inside, I found its door rusted shut. I find something to pry it open. Alright, I believe it's this way. So this is a lighthouse. We did not go into the lighthouse before in the other games.
Please, heed all warnings, Detective.
I think that's
Come back.
Rose.
You still can.
I believe that one's Rose. They look similar, but I believe that one's Rose. Ah, man, I dropped it. How dare I? Alright, there's that. Key. I think that's it. So unfortunately, I do know what to do for like an hour. So, alright, this is Victor's cabin. Yet another goes missing from Blackpool. Local authorities remain baffled by unseemingly unrelated disappearances. And then at the bottom it says wife stealing horse. So I don't know what happened there, but someone was stealing horses. Um, gonna show you. I oof. So there's also that right there. Use the crowbar to get in. As I said, this is Victor's cabin or house rather. The creepiness of this place has not diminished since my last visit. A small, dilapidated cottage, once inhabited by the son of my nemesis, Charles, barely remains standing. It was here that I was abducted by Charles and his son, Victor, before I thwarted their attempts to imprison the souls of two little girls and their mother inside the caves beneath the manor. A small box secured with a custom lock appears to be a new addition, but its owner and its contents will presently remain a mystery until I can find a way to get it unlocked. Now I don't know what this is. This is Victor, by the way, and this is Charles. He kind of looks like the Emperor from Star Wars. Uh, I once again do know where most of this stuff is because I fortunately had played it past this part. Can't lift it by hand. One more. Aha! One more still. Lighthouse illuminating shield. Oh, handle. Handle was changing color. Alright. Now I'm gonna take the glass shard. I'm gonna back up. I'm gonna grab this. Alright. And then I'm gonna grab this. And take this. So now we have twine and we have rope. In a second. Oh, yes. I am. By the way, I don't condone what my character is about to do in any shape or form. Honestly, I would listen to the ghost, but I am not me right now. Alright. I mean, it says keep out and it's condemned. I wouldn't be doing this if it was me. Also, I have a teacup in my... I have a teacup in my little cubby there. Over here. See? Anyway, I wouldn't do that.
Please, detective,
Ugh.
abandon your pursuit before you're harmed.
I'm pretty sure that was... Ow, the bats. Now we have a bucket. Man, don't you just hate it when things break right after you touch them? Okay. Given the amount of property damage I have inflicted here in the past, I didn't hesitate to wrap my chain around the manor gates and attach it to my car. Perhaps, in hindsight, I should have opted to find another way in since I have almost certainly overheated the engine, to say nothing of the sign impaled in my windshield. The steps leading to Ravenhearst Manor lie before me, and I can make out the charred silhouette of a once opulent, I can't pronounce that, Victorian home. Ethereal voices of the souls I've saved continue to discourage my investigation. I get the impression they know something I do not, but I need to learn more about who requested my presence and why. Honestly, I feel like the character's not all that smart, but anyway. beside the point. That one. It's one of you. One of you. You. Yep, okay, the cat was staring at me. Okay, so there's one more. So there's a bunch of keys down here. Oh, right there. Uh, so yes, as I said, this is a dark story. If you didn't know from my 20-minute description of the first two games, I don't know how much darker it's gonna get. And again, if that's not something you can handle right now, don't don't force yourself to watch it. Is what I'm saying. Um, for me, this is a one of those things that I am doing kind of for myself, but like for you guys too. For those of you who can handle this type of stuff. I know it's a very niche game. I do know that. I know it's not as fun as some of the other games, but I still think it deserves its spotlight because it made a whole franchise. Oh, that's super tiny. It made a whole franchise. Like, it made a whole franchise. That is wild to me. Um, Again, I kind of know more than I want to. Okay. Oh, come on. So this is basically teaching you that sometimes you use two different things at the same time for the same solution. Uh, so now we have the key to go inside the lighthouse. So yeah, I'm just saying, once again, do not feel inclined to stay if this is not something you can handle. After much effort locating and retrieving the lighthouse key, I finally gained access to the base of the watchful tower. Unfortunately, darkness within the entry hinders further exploration of the structure. The irony of needing a light to see inside a lighthouse would be mildly amusing if I wasn't soaking wet from the autumn storm. Through feeling around in the dark, I was using the occasional flicker of lightning as a guide. I've managed to locate an old stove that might help illuminate the room. I'll need a way to get the fire started, but the heat might help dry me out of my soiled clothing. Soist? Sorry. The O and the U were strange. Oh, wait, I'm missing something. Why am I missing something? Okay, hold on. I am missing something. We did that already. I don't know really what that is. Am missing something. Okay. Says this stone, once thrust, turned it all to dust. Date of the last will illuminate sins past. And we have 10 of these to find right now. Okay, 3 left. In the first game, there wasn't much walking around. They put a lot of emphasis on the music and the art to tell the story. And I think that was really, really cool for the time period. Again, I think the first one came out in 2006, the second one came out in 2008, and I think this is 2010 or 2011, something like that. And it's fascinating that specifically for me, these ones were some of my favorite. Like, I love the dark stories anyway. Um, I'm gonna be dipping my toes into more of them But I know it's not for everybody, especially if your mental health is not in it. And that's perfectly okay. But I will be doing cozy games as well. Um, but yes.
Please, do not enter these forsaken grounds.
Ah, definitely missing something. And I know what I'm missing, but I don't remember where. Oh, I remember where. There we go. There it is. I was like, I'm missing something. Why am I missing something? Oh, yeah. Alright. So, lighter fluid and matches. And then there shall be light. So we have magnifying glass. And we have 1111, which is a puzzle. It's our first puzzle of the game, I believe. So, hold on. I do have a notebook right here in front of me. Kinda need it for these games. My pen would like it. Okay, so 111. Uh, there's also another code here. So 15 to 14, 21, 6, and 5. My pen is still not exactly working. Okay, so for this puzzle, we need all of them to be 1. All of them to be... Yeah! Alright, so the other puzzle here is 5374. Fragile Break Me. So yeah, the first one didn't have a whole lot of movement. They tried to pull you into the story by the music, by the ambiance, by the story itself. The second one had a little bit more movement, had a little bit more interacting with things. Um, the puzzles were very much a sequence of puzzles, a sequence of numbers specifically. Um, and I find that very interesting, and um, I like the idea of showing that off to indie developers to show, especially back then when we didn't have all the technology we have now. Really didn't have all the stuff that we have now. And so, okay, so again, Pat, this is a SNW. My pen is still not working. It's brand new. It works and then it doesn't. NW. Okay, there's a secret lever here. And then there is a second puzzle here, but there's also this. Um, so the thing is, there's a number at the roof. See, this is a 2, so N is 2. Um, so, north is 2, right? So north, west, west. So something in between 21 and 15. 6. And then I think is the thing. So north, west, south, northwest. Okay, so I think it's uh north, which is 2. So I'm gonna put 2 there. And then west. I think it's northwest, south, north. West. So I think that's 15. So northwest, right? So there's 2 and then there's 2 and then there's 1. Oh. It's the way that they're written, right? Hold on. So capital N and then lowercase. So northwest, south, north, and W. See how they're capitalized? And then there's like a little bit of a difference. I think that means something. So yeah, I think N is 15 because that's what it says northwest, right? So it's 15. Then it's south, so it's 6. So 15, 6. No, it's 8B. Like, I guess I don't understand why it's not like, I don't know, in order. But I do think it's 15. It's 6 because that would be that one. 2 would be N. Is that it? Oh, gotta press the lever. Yes. Yes, it is. So, that feels highly dangerous, because I'm assuming that's like, the stairs. Okay, no, this is exactly what happened before. Froze on me again. Hey guys, it absolutely did not work. So unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to do the one of this game. I will try to do four. I'm unfortunately not going to try to keep fighting this game. And unfortunately, I'm going to have to end it here, and I will post this to let you guys know not to. 1 and 2 worked fine. 2, when I exited, it it made my home screen 10 times bigger than I like it, but I was able to fix that very quickly and there was no other problems. It didn't crash on me like this did, it didn't freeze like this did. So 3 is pretty much unplayable no matter where you get it. So I did waste money again to try to play this game. And unfortunately, I cannot continue fighting this. I will let you guys know right now that it is just unplayable. I will try to do 4 for you guys, um, but I am no longer going to be fighting with this game. Where I got to before is Charles uh, basically tricked us to come back. He then puts us to another underground lair, and we start understanding his backstory. Is my assumption. I got to the insane asylum where he was held as a younger person before the events of the first game. That is all I know. I don't know if I'm going to need any more information to play the fourth one, but I am no longer going to fight with this game. I have been doing this. I've done everything I possibly could to play this game for you guys. And I just wanted you guys to know so you don't waste money as well. I think if they updated the game to the new system or something, or stop selling it on both Steam and their website, I think that would be grand, or to update it. But the fact that they had a sale, I got all of them on Steam for sale, on sale. Um, and obviously I spent money again to play it through their website because I thought maybe if I get the collector's edition, maybe that will be newer to the game system. Maybe it won't do this. It still did, so don't waste your money. Um, and unfortunately, I am going to have to end it here for you guys. I'm so sorry this didn't work. I'm so disappointed that this didn't work. I find it interesting that I was able to play 1 and 2, but I cannot for the life of me play this third game when 1 and 2 are older. I just don't understand that concept to my brain. 1 and 2 work perfectly fine. As I said, I had a small issue when I exited the game, but I was able to fix that and I just played the game straight. I did not stop. So once I knew of that was happening frequently, I just continued to play the game. Uh, but again, unfortunately, I'm going to have to end it here. I am so sorry for you guys, and I'm sorry that this did not work like I had hoped to do with this series. But maybe if I spread awareness that people would be into this game if they updated it and would play it and they would make more money. Um, Maybe if I do that with this channel, then maybe we could play it again. As I said, I will go to 4. I will look up the thesis of this third game and just move on to 4. Um, so, unfortunately, that is all I have here right now. And until next time, I will see you later.